You know, concussions um, kind of took a back seat with COVID, um, and quite frankly, it took a star player, or the player that the NFL is riding right now to get hurt, to kind of bring concussions back to the forefront. They're not going away. And we've had this conversation before. They're not going away. Um, they're extremely dangerous. We're just finding out. We're just scraping the surface of what it does to the brain, and it's not good. So I hate it for Patrick. Um, the protocols in place. Let's see if they follow it. I love Andy Reid. I always want him to succeed. He may have to do it next week without Patrick, because that one, who knows what level of concussion he had. Was it extreme? It didn't look good at all. So, it's just, you hate to see it, because long-term damage can be very very awful for any player.
This is an independent neurologist having to clear him. Even if he feels like he can play, but they don't clear him, he's not going to play next week.
Well, he's going to, I can promise you, because I've been there, he's going to feel absolutely 100% ready to play. And if he has, just say he has a headache on Friday, but previous 3 or 4 days, he's fine. Is he going to tell them? I doubt it. He wants to play. And, for years, up until 10 years ago, there was no protocol in place. And once you felt better, which could have been 3 or 4 hours, you were back out playing. That's not the case anymore. And he will want to play, whether or not he passes the baseline test that he took initially, and the doctors feel he's able. This is a test for the NFL right now, to see a star player in a crucial game. What will happen with their decision?
What would you say to Patrick?
I played 321 straight games. It kind of goes against everything that I stood for when I played. But you got to be smart. You got to be smart. I was never faced with a decision that he potentially will face this week. And ultimately, the decision may fall on the doctors. And if they choose that he doesn't play, then it's the right move, because of long-term damage. And when you're in the moment and you're young, you're bulletproof, man. But I'm 51 years old, and I wonder what tomorrow will bring, because of concussions more than anything. And at 20, what is Patrick? 24, 25? I had it all figured out. So I urge him and all players to be extremely smart.
You've been working with a company called Prevacus. We've talked about this before, and you have some news recently involving the drug. But first of all, tell people about it and what it does to hopefully prevent concussions, correct?
Yeah, of course, I'm not a medical doctor, and I don't want to come across as one, but basically it's a nasal device that will administer the drug within 5 minutes. It's in the brain. And for lack of a better term, it's an anti-inflammatory. And for people who don't know, a concussion is basically swelling of the brain. The more swelling, the more extreme the concussion. And so this is instantaneous. It's in the brain and relieving with the anti-inflammatory drug. It's already been tested to a certain degree. It's 380-fold safe. I had to ask what that meant initially. It's safer than over-the-counter meds, Tylenols, and so on and so forth. We're ready to start human trial studies, and we're looking for funding for the next 2 to 3 steps. We just partnered with Odyssey, which you and I talked about. They're a public company. It develops medical assets, and that was a big bonus for us. As I've learned, it's not easy to navigate through the medical world, and there's a lot of no's and stop at the door. But we believe this can help and can be administered right there on the field.
Have you been in touch with any of the leagues? I mean, you're such a face and a voice of the NFL, but any, impact sports.
Yes, I have. Not in the last year and a half, but I've talked to the head of the medical field for the NFL. I've talked to Roger Goodell. Basically, not for any other thing, but to help us in research. Maybe use it as a trial basis in preseason. We don't know if it will. I can't say for certain that it will work because it hasn't been through the proper testing, the human trials, and the safe part of it is safe. Will it do what we think it will do? We believe it will, but you got to get to that point, and the NFL is strong enough to to take this and do more research with it, and this is my thought, to do it in preseason. A kid gets a concussion, but knowing that it's completely safe, why not try it? But after talking with them, they were intrigued, and whether or not they're going to pursue it, maybe something like this, a concussion of Patrick Mahomes, brings it back to the forefront.